If the country is to prosper and rise up, we must all strive together and dedicate our collective efforts.
The ganga of politics, which was once confined to grand palaces and the hands of big landlords, was brought to the villages by Chaudhary Charan Singh.
He brought it into the streets of the villages.
Farmers used to suffer greatly. The Patwaris and Lekpals would harass them. He dismissed all of them at once, declaring that he would not allow such injustice to happen to the farmers.
If Chaudhary Charan Singh had not advocated for cottage and small industries at that time, what would have happened in this country today? Today, there are 63.3 million MSMEs.
When it comes to simplicity and honesty today, we never saw Gandhiji ourselves.
This is a story from the year 1979 when, in the evening, a distressed, shabby farmer wearing tattered clothes and a dhoti arrived at the Usrahar police station in Etawah district of Uttar Pradesh. He didn't even have slippers on his feet. The head constable asked the farmer, "Yes, what happened?" The farmer, frightened and hesitantly, explained that he had come from Meerut to buy an ox at his relative's place, but on the way, a pickpocket had stolen his money. That's why he had come to the police station to file a complaint. The head constable, looking at him with suspicion and scolding him, asked several questions and demanded evidence. In the end, the constable said, "Go, your complaint will not be registered." Disheartened and troubled by the constable's behavior, the farmer became dejected and stood off to the side, lost in thought. He wondered, what will happen now? Just then, a constable called him over and spoke with him for a while. During the conversation, it was decided that if the farmer could arrange for a bribe, his report would be filed. The troubled farmer agreed to the police's offer, and after that, the clerk began to write the complaint. After writing down everything that had happened, the clerk asked, "Baba, will you sign or put your thumbprint?" The farmer replied, "I am not educated, so I will use my thumbprint." The clerk handed the paper and ink to the farmer. The ragged farmer reached into his pocket and took out a seal and a pen. Before the clerk could understand what was happening, the farmer stamped the paper. The clerk turned over the paper and read it. It bore the seal of the Prime Minister, Government of India, and the farmer had written his own name with the pen in his hand. Now there was a commotion in the police station. The entire station was astonished that the Prime Minister of the country had come to file a report in the guise of a farmer. After this, the entire police station staff was suspended. This incident was recorded in the newspapers. A wave of fear swept through police stations and outposts. The common complainant could also be the Prime Minister. He was an ardent devotee of Maharshi Dayanand Saraswati and the 5th Prime Minister of India, Chaudhary Charan Singh.
He went to many police stations. There was no staff, so the prisoners who were brought in, what was their condition? Just 2 cups there. He punished those who were wrong, even suspended them. Farmers were in a miserable state, and the Patwaris and Lekpals were responsible for it. He dismissed all of them at once, saying, "I will not allow this kind of injustice to happen to farmers."
Greetings to all of you. I am Harpreet Kaur. In today's episode of Shat Shat Naman, we feature the story of the country's 5th Prime Minister, Chaudhary Charan Singh, who served twice as Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, once as the country's Home Minister, and even became Finance Minister and Deputy Prime Minister. He also served once as the Prime Minister of the country. Despite having a long political career, he never accumulated wealth for himself. When he passed away at the age of 84 on May 29, 1987, there were only 470 rupees in his account. This story begins around the year 1900. Mir Singh and his wife, Netar Kaur, residents of Chitsona Alipur village in the Thana area of Bulandshahr district, took 5 acres of land on lease for farming about 15 kilometers away. They settled in Nopur village. It was here, on December 23, 1902, that Charan Singh was born. A few years later, the landlord decided to sell the land at a high price. Paying this amount was beyond the means of his father, Mir Singh. Mir Singh had to give up the land, and once again, he moved his family, this time to Bupgari village in Meerut, about 60 kilometers away. Charan Singh's family lived there until 1922. During this period, In this environment, the seeds of struggle against British rule and the exploitation of poor village farmers were sown in young Chaudhary Charan Singh's heart. Every day, he would walk to study at the government school in Janikhurd village, which was 3 kilometers away from Bubgarhi. After this, Charan Singh's next stop was the Model Training School in Meerut city. There he studied for 1 year, and after that, in 1914, he got admitted to the government college in Meerut. In the 9th grade, he chose science as his subject, along with English, economics, and history. Charan Singh passed his high school examination in 1919 and his intermediate examination in 1921. Beyond this, continuing his education was beyond the means of his father, Mir Singh. His father refused to let him study further. The reason was the family's poverty. In this situation, when his uncle Lakhpat Singh found out that Charan Singh's education was being disrupted due to financial difficulties, he promised that he would bear the expenses of Charan Singh's education until he completed his study. Charan Singh went to Agra College to pursue higher education. He completed his BC in 1923, his MA in 1925, and his law studies in 1927. During this period, on June 25, 1925, he married Gayatri Devi. Chaudhary Charan Singh grew up at a time when the country's struggle for independence was at its peak. It was an era marked by major incidents, from the Jallianwala Bagh massacre to frequent large-scale events. The country was imprisoned in slavery and society was steeped in untouchability. The Jallianwala Bagh massacre in Amritsar deeply shook him. This was a period when two ideologies were driving social and political change. One, in which he chose Maharshi Dayanand Saraswati, and for political change he was influenced by Mahatma Gandhi. However, this influence did not last long, and the year was 1926. On this day, when Charan Singh was celebrating his 24th birthday, a murderer named Abdul Rashid, in opposition to the Shuddhi movement, killed the prominent Arya Samaj leader, the eminent Mahatma Swami Shraddhanand Ji. Gandhi had called the murderer Abdul Rashid his brother and forgave him for this murder. But Chaudhary Charan Singh was a supporter of the Shuddhi movement. He demanded the death penalty for the murderer. Secondly, Chaudhary Charan Singh believed in the 14th chapter of Satyarth Prakash, while Gandhi demanded that this chapter be removed.
He was once asked, "What kind of influence did Swami Dayanand and Gandhi ji have on your mind, and how did it affect you?" He replied that Swami Dayanand did not get the opportunity, and his thoughts about social reform and about girls. Regarding caste, Gandhi ji's views and his own views were, in our opinion, aligned.
Chaudhary Charan Singh began his professional, social and political life simultaneously. In the city of Ghaziabad, which was then part of Meerut district, he started his legal practice with civil cases. At the same time, his first political step was opposing the Simon Commission. Then came the Salt Satyagraha, in which he actively participated. In fact, in April 1930, the British government sent him to jail for 6 months, and the following year, he was elected unopposed to the Meerut District Board. There, at the age of 27, he became a member of the Indian National Congress. He established the Ghaziabad City Congress Committee, where he held several positions until 1939. Simultaneously, until 1939, he served as the President and General Secretary of the Ghaziabad Arya Samaj Pradhan Committee.
I passed high school in the year 19- from the government high schools of Meerut. When Mahatma Gandhi took up the cause of the nation this time, was it the Congress that called for rebellion against the British? At that time, the boys of my generation who were studying in school and college had the names of great personalities before us. Swami Dayanand, Swami Ramdev, whose biographies we did not read, but whose books we had.
He was so influenced by Maharshi Dayanand Ji that he adopted principles like social change, upliftment of the Harijans, Satyagraha, sacrifice, self-restraint, simplicity, and truth is religion in his own life. He embraced these so deeply that when Chaudhary Charan Singh lived in the hostel of Agra College, he would eat food prepared by a sweeper. Later, after coming to Ghaziabad, he hired a Dalit as a cook in his home, who stayed with him until 1939. Because of this, Chaudhary Charan Singh had to face ostracism from his community and relatives. However, this disciple of Maharshi Dayanand Ji did not waver in the slightest.
it doesn't seem like a big deal to us. And since we don't make any distinctions, it's really not a big deal, right? But we're talking about 100 years ago. At that time, all the students and his colleagues at Agora College opposed him. He always opposed the caste system at every level and introduced new ideas. Even today, we feel embarrassed to talk about those things that Chaudhary Sahib used to speak openly about from social and political platforms.
The year 1937 brought a major change in Chaudhary Charan Singh's political life. The Congress, which had been boycotting provincial and local elections in the country since 1921, announced its participation in the 1937 elections. For the United Provinces Assembly, the Congress gave Charan Singh a ticket from the southwest seat of Meerut district. This constituency included the Bagpat and Ghaziabad tehsils. He won by securing more than 78% of the total votes. He defeated the National Party candidate. Later, this seat came to be known as Chaprauli, but the year was 1941, and the movement against the British was at its peak, which is why he had to go to jail again in 1941. The reason was that he had organized secret revolutionary groups in places like Meerut, Mawana, Sardana, Ghaziabad, Bulandshahr, and others. The country became independent, Congress came to power, but this disciple of Maharshi Dayanand remained steadfast in his social principles. It was the year 1959, at the Congress session in Nagpur, when Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru proposed contract farming. All the Congress leaders remained silent. In the Congress, Prime Minister Nehru's word was law. To disagree with Nehru meant putting a full stop to one's political future in the Congress. Yet, with irrefutable arguments, Chaudhary Charan Singh fiercely opposed Nehru's proposal. Amidst the applause of Congress members who saw their future in praising Nehru, Charan Singh said, "These claps show that you all agree with my views, but you do not have the courage to express your thoughts openly as I do." Clearly, Charan Singh later had to pay the price for that courage by resigning from the Congress, but that was not the end of his political career. Instead, it marked the beginning of a journey that laid the foundation for transformative alternative politics in the country. He laid the kind of political foundation that, for nearly 3 decades, became the basis for non-Congress and alternative politics in Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Haryana, Punjab, Rajasthan, and Odisha. Those who questioned Chaudhary Charan Singh's understanding began to see him only as a leader of farmers and laborers. Perhaps the people who spoke in a mix of Hindi and English never even read his works like India's Economic Policy, which he wrote in English. They probably never read any of the many books available on etiquette and similar topics. In fact, after Maharshi Dayanand Saraswati, the true understanding of India's grassroots agriculture-based economy was seen only in a few. It was only visible in Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel and Chaudhary Charan Singh.
They wanted that the families engaged in farming should retain ownership of the land they cultivate, but apart from that, we also need to adopt other approaches. They wanted to change the face of the village from that perspective.
So, Chaudhary Charan Singh replaced the term Patwari with Lekpal, meaning one must adhere to the record keeping of the land. If last year the land was in Trilok Tyagi's name, then how did it end up in someone else's name the next year? How did that happen? So, when Patwaris used to do such things, Chaudhary Charan Singh would dismiss those Lekpals who were involved. That fear still exists today. That's why Lekpals no longer enter any wrong names anywhere. This was done by Chaudhary Charan Singh. Chaudhary Charan Singh also established the Mandi Committee, and he brought the Chakbandi law because the farmers' land used to be scattered all over. Chaudhary Charan Singh gathered those lands together and did another great thing. The 5% land that was left out during consolidation used to go to the Gram Sabha. He also brought in a law that this land would be allotted to the Harijans.
Chaudhary Charan Singh did not get a long tenure as Chief Minister or Prime Minister, but the land reforms he initiated in Uttar Pradesh inspired the Left Front to successfully govern West Bengal for 3.5 decades. They succeeded in ruling. Singh's greatest political contribution was that during the era of Nehru's immense popularity and the Congress Party's nationwide dominance, he not only created hope for alternative politics in a new space, but also took it to the unimaginable height of changing the central government. The new generation may not know that Charan Singh was not just a politician, but also a great agricultural scientist and social reformer. Moreover, for him, social reform was not just a matter of preaching, but of conduct in life. Chaudhary Charan Singh did not consider this discrimination to be justified. According to him, nothing is determined by birth. It is determined by one's actions. He wrote in his book that inequality exists because of exploitation. From outright refusal to offer a chadar at the Ajmer Dargah to being a follower of Arya Samaj, Charan Singh remained an example of simplicity even after reaching the highest office in the country. To understand the state of governance, he would disguise himself and visit government offices, and upon receiving complaints, he would address them right from the stage at election rallies. Announcing changes right from the stage at election rallies may sound like something out of a movie today, but this was precisely Chaudhary Charan Singh's political style. He never defended the wrongdoings of even his own people, nor did he ever hesitate to praise the good deeds of others. The heirs of such a great leader, with such a vast personality and achievements, have not only failed to carry forward his legacy, but have not even been able to preserve it. Chaudhary Charan Singh began his challenging political journey from the small village of Nurpur in western Uttar Pradesh and went on to attain power at the national level. He was the person who, through his ideology, not only brought agriculture and farmers to the forefront of Indian politics, but also secured the rights of laborers. Because of this, everyone is compelled to speak Chaudhary Charan Singh's name with heartfelt respect. A true devotee of Maharshi Dayanand Saraswati is one who never compromises on principles, no matter the cost. The world only sings the praises of those great individuals who remain steadfast as a rock in their principles. Arya Samaj offers its conditional salute to this true soldier of Maharshi Dayanand Saraswati.
What is it? Have gone. Jai Hind.
After the death of Chaudhary Charan Singh, his grandson Sri Jayant Chaudhary